Brother Dale sent me something that was a video, so all this is his fault. But it made me think. It made me think a lot, so I'm going to read some stuff to you. Alright, so every 3 to 4 seconds, 50 cells in our body will die and replace themselves. 90% of disease is caused by stress. 90%. I don't know how many mathematicians we got in here. That's a lot. It's directly caused by stress. Okay? And I just wrote a couple. There's all kinds. I could go on for days. So the intestines repair themselves every 2 to 3 days. 2 to 3 days. Basically, your intestines have repaired itself and it's new. Cool. Liver repairs itself every 5 months. 5 months, your liver repairs itself. So 98% of all atoms, we are made up of atoms, of molecules. So 98% of all atoms in the body come and go in 1 year. 98% come and go. So I'm going to stop right there. I just wanted to throw those out there as something for everybody to think about. Alright, let's go to Ephesians 4. We're going to start in 13. I think it was 2 weeks ago we went here. And I always tend to come back here. Hey man, what's up, man? I always tend to come back here. So Ephesians 4:13. We're going to read through 16. So till we all come in the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of God into a perfect man, unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ. Alright, does everybody remember this?
Yes, sir.
Let's just do this again. Jeremy, come here. Alright, do this one more time. So you turn that way. Alright, stand right here. Stand up here. So this is Jeremy. He is, how tall are you?
5'8"
5'8" or so. He's 5'8" or so. Weight unknown. Weighing in at unknown. But regardless, none of that matters. This is Jeremy. This is his statue. Jamie Miller. Statue. The list goes on. This is him right here. Everybody look at him. This is Jeremy. Alright, I can't fit in Jeremy's statue. I just don't fit in him. I can't fit into him because he's smaller than me. Well, maybe he could try to fit in me, but I couldn't feel he couldn't feel my stature because I'm taller and I might weigh a little more. But nevertheless, we have two different statures. Alright? So, you can sit down now. So we and of the knowledge of the Son of God unto a perfect man, unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ. What we're trying to do here is get into Christ's stature, to become His form, to become exactly what He is, to look like Him, to fit into His body. He says, take my body. Well, He wants us to become one with Him. So when the people see us, they see Christ. We are in the same stature. So when they look at us, they see the very image of Christ. Because that's how we were created. Alright, let's keep reading. I just wanted to refresh right there. That we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro, and carried about with every wind of doctrine, by the sleight of men and cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive. So, by the cunning craftiness and sleight of men, waiting to deceive. Alright, so we can look at that two ways. Where you can say, well, that's somebody that's waiting to deceive you. That's the people who's around me. I want to take it deeper. If he wants us to become in his stature, into his size, and fit into him, then that craftiness and that cunningness is inside of us. Because that's not inside of him. That belittles us so that we cannot feel him. So in order to feel him, we have to get rid of all this stuff, these things that deceive, not men, that deceive us. And see, there's all this stuff in our life that deceives us and takes away from the stature of Christ. That pulls us down and makes us lesser than everything that he is. But speaking the truth in love may grow up into him in all things. So that's how we grow up. That's the answer to our question. That's the answer to how do we get rid of the deceit and lies. Speaking in love and truth in love may grow up unto him in all things, which is the head, even Christ. Which is the head. So the head is Christ. Alright? Just hold right there. We're going to keep reading. From whom the whole body, fitly joined together and compacted by that which every joint supplieth, according to the effectual working in the measure of every part, making increase of the body. Increase in what? Increase of the body to fulfill him. Increase of the body, edifying of itself in love. So, if Christ is the head, Christ, who is Christ? Christ is truth. If truth is in our head, then the whole body is going to be fitly joined and is going to operate just like it was intended to, through Christ being the head. See, we have to gain his head. Our head is jacked up. My head is jacked up. Some of the stuff I think sometimes I'm like, I have to catch myself. I will go out there in a minute, way out there, and I have to hold. I had to bring myself back in because I was out there thinking on some crazy stuff. But guess what? What a man thinketh, so is he. So this is the next bit of information, a fact of the day for you. This is the most important. We have 60,000 thoughts a day run through our head. 60,000. How long would it take us to sit here and count the 60,000? Wow. Evidently all day. Because that's what we're doing. We constantly have thoughts running through our head. Constantly have thoughts. 60,000 of them a day. Okay, if we have 60,000 thoughts a day running through our head, is it a thief that's thinking, or is it a Christ that's thinking? Is it belittling us, or is it edifying us to feel his stature? Are we feeling the very body of Christ in what we're thinking? Let's go to, now we're going to go to Ezekiel 37. And this is where it gets fun. I just wanted to get the reading done so I can talk honestly. Because there's a lot in all of this. Ezekiel 37:1. So we know this is before Christ. Christ was not on the scene yet. But yet there was foreshadowing all the way through the Bible of Christ and how Christ was supposed to be. And this is an example. This is an example of the foreshadowing that God give man before Christ even entered into the earth. So the hand of the Lord was upon me, and carried me out in the spirit of the Lord, and set me down in the midst of the valley, which was full of bones, and caused me to pass by them round about. And behold, there were very many in the open valley, and lo, they were very dry. So he's gone out into this valley. What is a valley? A valley is something where there's mountains on each side. So he's in this valley, and he said there was many bones in this valley. So automatically you have to think something happened in this valley. And most likely there was a war in that valley, because that's where most battles are fought, is in the valley.
Go ahead.
So in this valley, there was death. So he was walking with God among death. He was walking over bones, stepping over bones, because there was many. And they were very dry. Very dry meaning they had been there a long time. They was dead as dead could be. And he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O God, thou knowest. Only God knows. That's what he was saying. God, you know. It was kind of like a rhetorical question in a way. Yeah, God, you know. Again he said unto me, Prophesy upon these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord God unto these bones, Behold, I will cause breath to enter unto you, and ye shall live. And I will lay sinews upon you. Sinews is joints and tendons and all this stuff that holds us together. I will lay that upon you, and will bring up flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and put breath in you, and ye shall live. And ye shall know that I am the Lord. So I prophesied as I was commanded, and I prophesied. There was a noise, and behold, a shaking, and the bones came together, bone to his bone. What does that mean, bone to his bones? Evidently there was bones stacked up everywhere. The bones came together exactly where they were supposed to go. And when I beheld, lo, the sinews and the flesh came upon them, and the skin covered them above, but there was no breath in them. Then said unto me, Prophesy the wind, prophesy, Son of man, and say to the wind, Thus saith the Lord God, Come from the four winds, O breathe, and breathe upon these slain, that they may live. So I prophesied that he commanded me. And the breath came unto them, and they lived, and stood up upon their feet, an exceeding great army. So now there's an army. So evidently there was an army that laid rest in that valley, and now this army is standing on their feet, and they're living, and they're just looking at him. What was once dry bones is now looking him square in the eye. Where there was no flesh, where there was no body, is standing upright, looking him in the eye, living and breathing. Let's keep reading. Therefore, hold on. And he said unto me, Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. Behold, they say, Our bones are dried, and our hope is lost. We are cut off from our parts. Therefore prophesy, and say unto them, Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, O my people, I will open your graves, and cause you to come up out of your graves, and bring you into the land of Israel. And ye shall know that I am the Lord, when I have opened your graves, O my people, and brought you up out of your graves, and shall put my spirit in you, and ye shall live. And I shall place you in your own land. Then shall ye know what the Lord have spoken it and performed it. So let's look back. There was dry bones in a valley. There was death in this valley. Well, obviously there's always going to be death in the valley because there's a war there and they're fighting over something. What was all the fights over? Land, inheritance, a future. So obviously the death is left in the valley because they lost. They lost the battle. They lost the battle for their future. And they're laid in this valley because the ones who won, they moved on. So this is where it gets wild. What else is in a valley? Let's just draw a valley here. You got a mountain. You got a mountain. Alright? Right here is a mountain. I mean the valley. Well, obviously, water runs down here and runs through this valley, right? There's a river in the valley. There's always a river in a valley. What is the river? It's life. What flows down the river? Anything that gets into it. Whatever gets into it flows down the river. So there was a battle fought here. There was a battle of life and death. That is always the battle. Life and death, life and death. That's the battle we fight every single day. In our life, we're fighting a battle of life and death. So we have 60,000 thoughts a day run through our mind. Also, we know that our body replenishes itself. So in what you sent me, in the video you sent me, the man was, and we've seen this, we can understand this because we have seen miracles and healing in this house. Yeah. So we can understand this. So he was talking about a tumor. And he said that this is a doctor speaking who left the medical field and chose to pursue actually helping people. He got tired of writing prescriptions. So people would write a prescription and they would come back and it's, okay, well, it's still the same problem. He didn't feel like he was solving anybody's problems. So he took a different route. He took a different way. And now what he does is he helps people's minds. And in helping their mind, it heals their whole body. Because we know that Christ is the head.
Yes.
And if we can get Christ in our head,
yes,
that it's going to edify our whole body.
Yes.
See, what we don't understand, we say that we frame our world with our words. And we can say that all day, but I don't think we truly understand the meaning of that. See, even Einstein knew that whenever a thought is energy, these 60,000 thoughts we have a day is pure energy. It's negative or it's positive energy. And see, that energy equals mass. Energy creates something. See, what we do when we think, we're creating stuff. Because that whenever we think it, it enters into our body and that energy grows and therefore we do what we think and it is actually physically creating something. Just like it does in the molecular world, which I don't understand. But energy creates. We create. We are nothing but a big ball of energy. Those 60,000 thoughts that run through our brain are energy that travel through our nervous system. See, what we think is what we are. This is a brain. This is your cerebellum that flows down into your spinal column that runs every part of your body. See, to me, there's an uncanny resemblance between these mountains and this valley. See, you have to choose what you're going to think because it's energy. And you're sending life or death down the river into your whole body. And you're going to create, because water is life. Whatever's flowing down that river, whether it be life or death, is what's coming out of you and is what you're creating.
Wow.
See, this right here, God has always talked about the mind. Through the whole body, it is nothing but about the mind. The whole Bible, there's nothing. Everything is about man and the mind and what we think and the thoughts that we create, because that's how we were created. We were created to be creators because we were created in His image. That's why this energy that we use all day is so important, because when it runs down your cerebellum and into your spine and it flows and it tells your hands what to do and it tells your mouth what to say, it's life or death. We are life or death because there's two parts to our brain. You have two choices. You can either choose life or you can choose death. You can do the right thing or the wrong thing. Something that always stuck with me, and I didn't understand it at first. But as I was growing up, my mama used to tell me, look, you have two choices. You can do what's right or you can do what's wrong. Those are your two choices. And I'm acting a fool. I didn't care what she had to say. I'm acting crazy. And then my daddy always used to tell me, son, just do the right thing. Just do what's right. Just choose life. Because we know there's death in the valley. We know there's death in the valley. But we also know that where we come from is death. Because you have to find life. Life is not something that you just are born. It should be that we're born and we have this life and we can just walk in it. But that's not the case, because death is all around us. The environment we're born into is death. Because of how we were taught, how we were raised, how we were brought up. So we have to seek for life. We have to go find life.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I believe one day that we can raise a child up and just know life all the way around. So where he don't have to experience death. He don't have to experience these things. And yes, we're perfecting this. Just like it says, we're trying to perfect ourselves into the image and into the likeness of Christ. See, this is where I was. I was like right here on the mountain of death. And I built me a little house there. Had a little lean-to. Put all my stuff in. I just hung out right there on that mountain. And I created my world on that mountain. I built my house on that mountain, because if there's many mansions in this heaven that we're trying to find, because he said, hey, in this kingdom that I have for you, there's many mansions. Yep. Well, obviously there's many mansions in hell too. Because I had my house there.
Yes, sir.
See, but I had to come up off of that mountain. And then that's when you're faced in the valley of decision. That's when you're faced with a choice, because you have to make a choice when you get down there. Because there's death all around you. There's dry bones all around you. So now, in these dry bones and walking this dry, seeing this dry bones, you have to make a decision. And see, that's where life and death begins. Either life is going to begin for you or death is going to begin for you. Is when you make that decision to say, you know what? I want to live, or I'm going to go back to death. I'm going to go back to my house here. Because it's okay, because it's just enough for me there, and I know I can live there. See, a lot of people don't want to put in the effort to climb this mountain. They know where they're going here. They know where they're going on this side. They have their house there. See, your inheritance, though, is up here.
Yes.
This is where your inheritance is. That's what God has for you, is on top of that mountain. When you can come through the valley. Because it says, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. Why? Because I've been here. Because you're always going to be faced with decisions. A valley is nothing more than a decision. You're always faced in your life with decisions, but when that decision is hard and there's death all around you, you won't fear no evil. Why? Because you know where your inheritance is. $60,000 thoughts per day. 60,000. So those 60,000 thoughts, what are they doing? What are decisions? They're decisions that you make. And see, there's some thoughts that go through my head, it's just automatic. Like I'm on autopilot. That's just what I do. Right or wrong, it's autopilot. It's just boom, I jumped right into it before I even knew what happened. Because I've always done it that way, and I've always made that decision, right or wrong. And see, there's things in our life to where we've always done it that way, so it's not even a question. As soon as it crosses our mind, we've already given an answer. That can be life or death. And so we need to seek out those. We need to comb through those 60,000 thoughts that run through our mind and say, hey, is that the right thing or is that the wrong thing? Is that life or is that death? Because whatever it is, it's going to flow down the river. It's going to flow straight down the river, and it's what we're going to produce. Because a river is also energy. We use rivers to create energy. Why? Because it's mass forces of information, well, water, in this case, information, that create things, that make you operate, that make you do things. Because it's 60,000 thoughts per day. If this is true, and we know that our thoughts produce action, and we know that the things that we think is what we are, then what's our ratio? Is it, well, I have 50,000 bad thoughts and 10,000 good ones? Is that death or life? See, we have to turn this in our favor. We have to turn those 60,000 thoughts into things that's going to prosper us instead of be thieves to us and take from us.
Right.
Because you are the only one that can hold you back from doing anything and accomplishing anything and being healed. So I also heard when they was talking, Brother Dale, on that, what you sent me, they said that they'll take placebos. A placebo is just nothing. It's a pill that is nothing. And they'll give these to cancer patients. And they'll give them to people with different ailments, high blood pressure, all this stuff. And they'll give people a pill that is nothing. And the cancer patients, their hair will start to fall out. Physically fall out. Just like it would if it was chemo. And all it is a placebo. It's nothing. Why? Because that's what they believe. They believe that they're taking chemo. So their hair actually falls out. The high blood pressure, when they take it, their blood pressure goes down. It's nothing. They might as well just be taking and eating a rock. It's nothing.
That would do something if you eat a rock.
It would probably be bad. You're right.
I know.
Don't eat rocks. So, what is it that causes that? If it's nothing and they're taking nothing, how are these people being healed from cancer? And why is their hair falling out? Because they think their thoughts is consumed by the fact that they have cancer.
Yes.
So all day these 60,000 thoughts is thinking about how this pill is going to help them. And because they're so consumed in the fact that they have cancer and how this pill that is nothing is going to help them, they are healed from cancer. And all they took for it was nothing. All they took for it was a lot of thinking about one subject. Because that life that's inside of you, we're put here to live. We ain't put here to die. We ain't put here to be here so we can go somewhere else. No, we're put here on this earth to live and to live abundant. Abundant life is why we're here. But it all starts with these 60,000 thoughts that run through your head every single day. What are they? So according to math, I don't know, we've been here for 30 minutes, but you guys have already probably thought like, I don't know, probably 7,200 thoughts. What were they about? I hope about life. That's why when we can leave out of here, when I leave out of here after talking about this stuff, I'm jacked up. I am. I'm jacked up, and it's like, that don't have to be one day. We can change this thing and start doing this every day. That's my goal. I want my portion of life and death and what's coming and what's flowing down my river and flowing out of me. Because what's flowing out, it's going to flow out of your belly. Living waters. It's what flows out of us. Well, if that flows out of us, so does death. It's a choice. It's a choice, and it creates your world. I know this because I am living proof. I'm living proof. I should not be alive right now. I shouldn't be. I knew I was going to die. So what happened? I started changing this. Because I can tell you about 50,000 of my thoughts per day was how I'm going to get high again. That was about 50,000. The other 10,000 had something to do related to that. I can promise you. Because that's how I thought about it. And it was just straight death. That's all it was death. And that's what was flowing out of me. I was the thief. I was the thief. Stealing from myself, stealing from others. I was the only thief in my life. And I wanted to look at everybody else like they was taking something from me. When the whole time it was me. So when I was coming here, I picked up some money. And it just hit me. It was like, well, this is what I had. So this is what I thought about. As soon as I picked it up, I looked at it. This is $103 right here. So you got $103. So we're going to put $3 in a pot and we're going to put $100 in the pot. Which one's more valuable?
100.
$100. Good man. Smart man. Who likes $100? I love $100 bills. That's my favorite. So this is more valuable than these $3. Alright? What I would like to propose is that our lives, obviously the fruit of our life is based upon our thoughts. The fruit of what we are is based upon our thoughts. What we produce, where we are in our life, is based solely upon what goes through our head 60,000 times a day. But see, what I saw is, with these three, this is 100 thoughts. This is 3 thoughts. What I saw is that with 3 thoughts that are not negative. Alright, this is I can. This is I will. And this is oh man, we'll come up with one in a minute. 3 words. Let's just say I can, I will, and what's another one? I have. I have. Okay. I want to say that these 3 thoughts is more valuable than the 100 negative thoughts. So, those 3 words, let's talk about words now. Because the Word became flesh and what? And dwelt among us. The Word was God. The Word was with God. What else? And the Word was God. Plain and simple. So if we become what God created us to be, because we're all here, we're nothing more than a word. What is a word? A word is nothing more than a thought. Does anybody, when they think, they hear their own voice? Alright, good, I'm not the only one. When I think, I hear my voice. I don't hear Jacob when I'm thinking. If you get in my head, that would be weird. Because if you heard somebody else's voice, it wouldn't make sense to you. See, the words that we think in our head are produced with our mouth. God thought of you. You were a thought before the foundation, and you became a word, and you were flesh. Alright, so these words that we speak are power. They're spirit and they're life. So the spirit and life that we speak, we can speak life to death and create death. Because it's still, there's life in death. You can speak. That's why the tree was in that garden. Because it had to be there. Because without no death, there would be no life. See, there's life within death. And whenever we activated that tree, whenever we took upon that tree, we gave death to life. I always give an example. It's like a cigarette. I can tote a cigarette in my mouth all day long. I can walk around with it in my mouth. I can suck on it. It ain't going to do nothing. But when I give life to that cigarette and I spark it up, now all of a sudden I am set myself up to the effects of that cigarette because I've created life to it.
Right.
I gave life to that cigarette. The same is such as we are. We give life to our thoughts. We give life to these 60,000 thoughts that run through our head every day. And there's 3 words that we can add into these thoughts, into our vocabulary, that can change and put the odds in our favor for life instead of death. And it's I can, I will, and I have. That's just 3. And see, those 3 words are more valuable than 100 of these words over here in death. Because those 3 words completely take over death. Because in death, you have no I can. My thing was, I can't do that. I won't ever do that. I never will. I just can't. I can't bring myself to. I can't quit. I'll never quit. I'll always be this way. I didn't have those 3 words that was the most valuable thing. So what was flowing out of me was 100 words of death. What was rolling down that into my valley of decision. I decided on death and it consumed my whole body. Physically, I was sick. Physically, I was sick. Why? Because I thought I was sick. I was told I was sick and I took that, and that's what flowed out of me was sickness. That's what ran down my river was sickness, and it affected my whole body. I began to lose weight. I weighed 135 pounds. I began to lose my mind. I began to see discoloration in my eyes. I began to create sickness in my life. Well, the same as how we can create sickness, we can create life. We can create healing. See, we have to offer to people belief. We have to give them belief, hope, a future. We have to offer them that because it's theirs to take. But it all lies within this valley of decision because God came in and said, dry bones, raise up. Get up, dry bones. Come out of this decision where you have accepted death and you lay down and died in that decision. There's hard decisions that we make in our life. Hard decisions. Some people lay down there and die in those decisions.
Yes, sir.
And death consumes them. But God came to raise us up.
Yes, sir.
To raise us up out of that dry state to where we have no life, because dry means you have no water.
Right.
You have no life. So He come to raise you up, wrap you back in flesh as He wanted, because He wants you to be in His statue. And there's an army inside of you so that you can go and take the land, because that was Israel.
Go ahead.
That was Israel laying in that valley of decision. And he raised them up so that they could go take their land back. See, the land is inside of your head. Your inheritance is what God created for you. Your inheritance is right here. See, in these decisions that you're making, just know that you can be raised up. And you can go live and live the life that God created for you. You can live in abundance. You can have the inheritance that He wants for you. But it all starts with these 60,000 thoughts that run through your head. Life, people find life in the valley. That's where I found life. Life was in the valley. Life was in the toughest time in my life. Life was whenever I didn't know what to do. I didn't know whether to turn and haul tail back up the mountain or to truck forward and take what God had for me. Because either way, it was hard. If we can get this, I'm starting to see that every aspect of this Word of God lines up directly with every part of our life, of our body. I mean, this is like, what do you call this? I mean, this is like biology right here, or physiology or something, I don't know. Biology. I'm no philosopher of, I ain't even gonna go there with y'all. Anyway, y'all think I'm crazy. But this right here is the valley. Which side are you on? What's contributing to this river of life that's flowing down and going through your whole body? Tracy, I believe that just simply by changing your mind, that your physical body can come into shape. I know that. I've seen it. A lot of these people have seen it. I've seen it, I don't know, countless amount of times. But now I'm understanding it more. See, when you think about sickness, and that's all you think about, is you're going to be sick. What I challenge you to do, man, is think of yourself in 10 years. What you want to be. Minus any element that you got. Think of yourself 10 years from now. And what you want your life to look like 10 years from now. Healthy. Strong. Able to run. Able to do things. Don't even think about your physical elements. Start thinking about that. Because when you do that, that's what's going to flow into this river, man. And it's going to just consume you. Because that river consumes. A river will consume anything in its path. You ever go to the river when it's real high, you see trees flowing down the river. Tear all kind of stuff up. It's power. You can't stop a river. That's the one thing you can't stop is water. And this water that flows out of us, you can't stop it. See, the thing that changed, nothing around us is changing. We change. Jim Rohn. Nothing is going to change until we change. Look up Jim Rohn if you don't know who he is. But nothing's going to change until we change. Same seasons. Summer, fall, winter, spring. Summer, fall, winter, spring. Summer, fall, winter, spring. Just keeps on going. Sun goes up. What does it do? And it comes back down.
Yes.
What happens if the man don't know that?
It's been around.
It ain't been around long enough. Because that sun's going to come up and it's going to go down. We got the same amount of time. Everybody in this room has got the same amount of time every day. We got the same amount of time to create our life every day. So we got the same amount of decisions to make every day. We have the same amount of thoughts because we have the same. Now some people, my mind tends, I might think a little more. I'm not saying that's a good thing either because I feel like I'm always thinking about something crazy. But those thoughts, we have the same amount of options to do something with our life. Same amount of time, same seasons. Nothing's going to change until we change. Until we change those 60,000 thoughts and start throwing in a couple of these into the river. Start throwing in, I can, I will, I have. Replace it with, I can't. I hate that word. Oh no, I hate that word. I can't.
Yep.
I hate when somebody tells me they can't do something.
Go ahead.
Don't think I won't call you out because I will. The value of your life rests in the valley of the city. Your worth rests in the valley where the river flows. That's where your value is. That's when that's when it's hard. That's the hardest part. But that's the value. That's where men are made. Because somebody walked out of that valley.
Yes, sir.
Somebody won that war and defeated those Israelites. Why? Obviously they were more valuable. But God come to raise us up so that we're no longer defeated in the valley. So that anything that comes in that valley that's a Goliath, that's taunting our God, that's lies and deceit, that's bringing us down to lesser of a statue of Him, to where we're not fulfilling Christ and being in Him and Him in us, they will be destroyed in that valley. And truth will prevail. I was so jacked up about this when I saw this morning. That's just beautiful. I mean, it is. Because we have, it's up to us. It's up. Nobody else going to do it. Nobody else is going to do it. People need to stop asking for handouts. People ask for handouts all day long. I'm not talking, well, I'm talking about money and that kind of stuff too. But a handout is an excuse. See, I had about 40,000 excuses with my thoughts about why I couldn't do something. So I wanted somebody to give to me because I couldn't. See, stop asking for handouts and take your thoughts and accept that you have X amount of thoughts per day and that you have to do something with it and that is the fruit of your life. The fruit of who you are, the value of you rests in your head, in your thoughts. I'm done.